Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Just want to throw this in here quick. I know you guys are probably expecting another snow ride video coming, which that is coming after this one, but these videos are a lot easier and faster for me to edit, so I just blasted through this one quick, give you guys an update on the Talon, another fabricating video on the Talon, and we're making progress. Real headway is being made, so super rad, super hyped about that. But I am going to continue editing the winter ride. I got one more video coming from that, and there's some carnage, I'll say that, in this next winter ride video. Didn't expect it in the snow, but when you send it all the time, I mean, it's inevitable. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Stay tuned, and the next one's gonna be a banger. Alright, what's up guys? If you guys haven't been following along, we bought this totaled Talon from auction at Copart and are rebuilding it here on the channel. So there's been a couple videos out already, so if you want to get all the details and get fully caught up, if you haven't seen it, basically replaced this whole lower section of the frame here, and we rebuilt everything, did some gussets there where it was cracked, and did some new bumper tabs, new A-arm tabs, etc, etc. As well as had a broken diff. Because all that stuff was tweaked, it cracked the case on the diff. And then when we got it, it also didn't have working power steering, which doesn't really add up to me in my brain on like how that's relevant to like the crash. Because basically we've got the power steering motor out, and at this point this is like I don't know what it does. Like this is obviously your main power because it's bigger wires, and then there's just 3 little wires that you usually plug in here. And this clip is like really hard to see basically with all the plastic in. You know, ours is taken apart, but it's way down under there. So it doesn't make much sense. Actually, I think it all just clicked for me while I was filming this.
What's that?
You see how the plastic's blown out right here?
I did see that earlier.
I bet it's from whoever crashed this thing's knee or foot, like bracing themselves.
Very possible.
Because look where the connector is. It's right next to that cracked plastic.
God damn, that would hurt.
So actually, I think we just figured that out. I mean, it's right, the connector is right by Billy's hand right now. And I mean, that's somewhere where your legs, knees would be.
Most people don't like wearing seatbelts for whatever reason. It's literally like perfect.
Dang, I just realized that. At first I was like, I don't understand how that's broke. That's crazy. That'd be a rough ride. I mean, it was obviously a hit. So if you guys haven't been following along, I got my memorabilia here on the wall of the frames, the frame tube that we just chopped off. So it was a major hit. This was the main impact.
Before Larry got it.
Yeah. And then to fill you guys in, a fellow named Larry. It's kind of a joke at this point that we've been calling somebody, whoever like tacked this thing back together, we're calling Larry. The welds were terrible. Used bolts for filler on big gaps, and it was just super sketchy. So just cut all that shit out of the way. And we're putting new stuff in now. And last video, got it all painted up. Got her looking pretty good. And now we are on to the upper half, I'll call it. The topper half. So Yeah, we were originally gonna try and solder some leads onto here when we picked the rig up and found out what was broke for what was stopping the power steering from working. So then a company called Powersports Nation reached out, and they seen that we were rebuilding a total Talon, and they actually part out side-by-sides, and I believe four-wheelers, all that kind of stuff. You guys could go on their website. The link is in the description if you want to check it out, or if you need any used parts for a good deal. And they were like, hey, we've got a motor, like we'll send you one over, that way you don't have to solder anything to it, and you should be good to go there. So like, all right, sweet. But the plot thickens because the connector on our factory harness looks like this. And Billy, you want to explain why we didn't just, so I'll show you what the Powersports Nation was like, all right, no problem. We've got this harness that we'll send you guys. And holy crap, it's the entire machine's harness in a box. And I believe they didn't really want to resell it. I didn't get the full details on that, but there is some like other connectors and stuff that are broke on this harness. So they just sent us this whole harness basically. And we're not obviously going to swap, maybe not obviously, but we're not going to swap this entire chassis harness just to fix this one connector. But our options were to pull,
kind of deep pin this, or just cut it and splice it, like solder it and heat shrink it.
So we've only got one working one
yeah.
of this connector. So it's like, looking at that one, it doesn't seem...
No, it's usually you can stick a little pick or something inside these little things to deep pin it, and then it like kind of like pops it out. But these are like a different kind of style that I've not really seen before, so I don't really feel comfortable trying to get them out and then probably messing up the plug, and then we'd be right back to square one again.
Yeah, and then we have no plug, and then we just have to, then we'd have to cut the harness on the power steering motor and just connect the wires to each other, which we're obviously trying to avoid that. So instead, we are going to strip this back a little bit, and we're going to cut this off here, and we're going to splice these wires to our factory harness. I just showed you where the pins were ripped out of the old connector, and basically figured that's a better option than risking. That way we still have the factory connector. We'll just have a splice in line. I'm an electrician, so I feel completely comfortable doing it. And we'll heat shrink the splice, and super confident in it. It's no different than wiring up your old light bar that you put on the roof, what's the difference? So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with that. We've got the new, which we didn't film, we did this morning. We got the new power steering motor in already, which you can see. And that went really well. So that's kind of why we're doing this now. This is kind of like odds and ends, but we wanted to do it before we put the whole front end back together, because it made it really easy to get it out, which was cool. So anyways, I'm gonna get to splicing those wires, and we're gonna get to wrenching. We'll catch up to you on the next bit. I think we're gonna mess with the diff after this, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so we've got the drive shaft here. Kind of another little odd and end that we want to get wrapped up as we put this thing back together. It's something that we've heard about a lot, and actually believe that's what happened to Cameron's rig. If you guys watched there's a lot of new people here, but go back and check out our Black Mountain series, Kentucky series. It was super rad. We were at Black Mountain though with a 2-seat Talon on 33-inch Nitros.
Yeah, 33 Nitros.
And he slung a drive shaft out on a mason jar going up that, and we didn't actually take it apart, but pretty sure that the U-joint was the failure, causing the whole drive shaft to just be mangled in the meantime.
Yeah, I'd agree. Either the U-joint A broke or slung the cap.
Yeah, so
one of the two happened.
And when we start to look in, and a lot of you guys have told us too that the caps is a really common problem. I guess the clip is made out of something that's subpar, and it's a pretty common problem that these things will just throw the caps. And so I know we could potentially put a different U-joint in it, but for now, and for just like the time's sake, we're just going to tack these caps and run it and see. Kind of goes with the sort of theme of the build of like keeping it as stock as possible. So
have you heard many issues about the U-joints like actually breaking versus the caps falling off?
I think it's a similar situation to what we just said. Like it's failure, and you don't really know
what caused
Yeah,
it.
because like when the cap flies off, obviously like things could break more than you don't know.
Yeah, probably usually people don't pull their drive shaft unless it's broke.
I've seen many people say that like they just tack their stock U-joints and they're like X amount of miles, they're still ripping, but I don't know if their miles are the same as our miles. So it's hard to say. But anyways, before we throw the diff in, obviously got to put the drive shaft in first. So we're just going to tack these up and call that good for phase 1 of the old, what do we call this thing? I think we should go with Nightmare.
Nightmare?
I
think with the few suspect things we found yesterday, I think Nightmare fits it pretty well.
Yeah.
Which we'll clue you guys in once we kind of work our way around
to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. But yeah, so enjoy this little welding montage and we'll be right back. Yeah, all right, so just tacked them all up. Just nice little guys, trying to not put too much heat to the U-joint. Everything still moves nice and free. Sorry. Yeah, we're good. A little bit of damage from I guess you'd say the drive shaft loop.
Yeah.
So it was just rubbing a little bit, but it's barely anything. We don't think it's gonna sacrifice strength or anything. So yeah, we'll get to probably getting this thing installed pretty quick.
Got some KOH going, the desert challenge today, but we've also got the diff challenge going on right now. Nice. Trying to get the old diff back in here. We got this bottom bolt started. Got the drive shaft that we tacked the caps on. All that's back in. Billy's hooking up the electrical right now to the diff. And these 2 bolts, those were the mounts that were broke on our last setup. So we don't have bolts for them. So we'll have to get bolts, but everything's looking pretty good. Have to it's kind of tough to get the diff in and out, like get the bolts through, because you know there's obviously been some things that moved around in that area, but overall it's not going too bad, I don't think. Thoughts?
No, it's going pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Just need to do a little prying here and there, but it's going together real good.
I mean, not too many diffs just like fall right in and out anyways, so
yeah,
they're always kind of the diff shuffle, you know.
And usually every time you weld and stuff, it pulls and pushes, so you know it's part of it. But
yeah, and we've also heard of like a weird thing with the Talon. I don't know how much truth there is to it. I've just seen a couple comments about it that people are saying that when the stock tabs are a little bit loose or the holes are a little bit too big and the diffs are like get jostled and they crack the case. I think it's only happened to like a couple people, and I think it's just a theory, so don't hold me to that. You guys know how the forums are. You never know no one really knows like the cause to their issues either, you know, like it's just theories. But so we're trying to make everything as snug as possible. It was what I was getting at there, just knowing that about that could be an issue. You know, we wanted to, instead of just drilling out the tabs a little bit more to get the bolt through, like we wanted to keep them like the perfect size and just kind of fight it so it's a super snug fit when we're done. But we're on the up and up with this thing, which is sick. I don't know what's next. I don't think I showed you guys. It's way up yonder, but actually you can kind of see it, I think, maybe. Yeah, I got that power steering wire spliced and good to go, so the steering should be good and done. Got the diff in, drive shaft in. I think might next be like some A-arms and axles, and
Yeah, probably.
Could be.
About ready, yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting. We'll get back with you.
Alrighty, so past few minutes I've been working on the A-arms, getting these bushings pressed in. And we wanted to show you guys this. So these are the SuperATV bushings with their A-arms. So when we went to press them in, they weren't just going in very easily, should say. So we had to take a little grinder, kind of, if it focuses, grind a little chamfer edge on it on one side. So that's just to get it to press into the A-arms, which are also SuperATV. So just a thought, wanted to show you guys before I do this last one. So stay tuned for the rest of the day's vid.
All right, what do we got going on, Josh?
I just fabbed up this nice piece of angle iron, grinded her down, got her ready for some welds. Grinded this whole, you know, kind of a banana of a shock tower up.
She's a little tweaked from pushing on it and other things pushing on it that started down there and
Pushing and pulling and squeezing and moving.
Anyway, it just needed some more support, so I cut this like a glove. Strengthen it up, make another tab to just go to the bolts, just because you know, from past experiences, Billy's ripped out a shock and we don't want to do that.
Shit.
I mean, you know, we're hard on stuff, as you guys know.
yeah, so we're in here. We might as well make it a
These do
little
look
bit better.
Polaris Turbo.
Yeah, definitely.
They're
They're a little thicker.
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Which is
wash?
scary.
Ours is like
Ooh.
ours is like the normal piece without the washer welded on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just that little
So
1/8 inch.
Yeah, junk.
what else I'm going to be working on is I'm going to take this bar, this new piece of angle, and use it as a nice solid point to put 2 more supports that will replace this nice, we're going to call it an energy absorbing bar now. And then I'm going to also probably just take another tube to just get rid of this nightmare, as we'll call it. Maybe that's what we'll call the machine. Don't know. But yeah, that's the gist of what's going on. I mean, if you saw when you look down, parts are going on.
It's going together. Things are happening.
It doesn't look bad.
Billy spent the better amount of his life putting in or grinding the SuperATV bushings so they fit.
He stayed overnight.
He's been here for days, weeks even. Just kidding. Really, I mean, a couple hours, but it's still annoying. But we were kidding about the days or whatever. But anyways, got them going on. Had to switch over the ball joints from the uppers, correct?
Yep.
So we are.
Real easy.
Those came out and in,
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
Which we used. We just retained the stock factory ball joints out of the factory arms. I mean, the whole rig's got like 500 miles on it, so just roll with those. See how the factory stuff does. I mean, I'm still running factory ball joints on Trader, so you never know. I mean, sometimes they're great out of the box, and definitely something that is a cool fact in my opinion. I don't know. You know, if the stuff's junk, it's something to note later on. Like, yeah, factory stuff didn't last, but yeah, I'm gonna get to burning this top plate in so we can continue on putting the thing back together. All right, Billy, taking care of some odds and ends. What are you working on?
So I guess
I think Josh just died.
Yeah, I do too. So we were kind of just doing a walk around on the machine, I guess the last time we worked on it, and I noticed the head of this bolt, which is their shock bolt, but you can kind of see, you know, maybe the difference here. And this is what was in these lowers, so it's actually still in on the other side because I can't get that one out at this moment.
Which I'll go show you, but yeah, Billy having to notice, or both with Billy and Josh, I think, I don't know, but interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's a brand new bolt, way too small, so like it was real loose, so I don't know. And then they were missing our sway bar nut, but that's
We probably don't need that where we're going anyways, but just leads into the name Nightmare as I think we were literally just standing next to it. And you're like, wait, this doesn't look like the right size.
Yeah, we were looking at this one, I mean, it just...
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that doesn't...
It looks smaller than the sway bar stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting, definitely. Not really sure why. He hasn't got this one out yet, but the passenger side, like the hole and everything looked fine.
Yeah, it wasn't wobbled out. It must have just... They must have just done it, like, before it got shipped to us.
Well, like, why would they have been
Larry
missing?
did it because, you know, he didn't get the bro wheels to clear the 32 on the shop.
Okay, so they don't know anything about that whole deal. That's the only theory that we've got so far. And we'll have to show you more because it can't really show it now that we took the wheels off, which I guess we're not going to put the wheels back on without. Anyways, we're putting spacers on because at the same time,
It's bro wheels.
the offset on the wheels that were on this, which are actually on that right now. If you're wondering why it looks like my Can-am has rear steer, stay tuned for the next video and you'll find out. But those wheels were hitting the shock bolts.
Everything.
Yeah,
Everything?
They were hitting like everything. You can actually see the tire rub.
Okay, not the wheels, the tires.
Yeah, the tires.
Sorry.
This side wasn't as bad as the other side, which is...
So the only theory is like maybe
Talk about that.
maybe the tire, like the lugs of the tire were hitting the bolts, and to get it to move freely, Larry put smaller bolts in it.
The thing is, I don't think it was ridden with these because the holes weren't oblong.
And the threads of the bolts aren't.
No, they're not all
suspect.
chewed up, and that one was just like loose. So
For all we know, that shock bolt was the perfect weld tube filler bolt for the front.
Maybe that's where it came from.
I mean, it was fine thread bolt, so.
My God. So that's just what we've uncovered so far. We've been obviously primarily focused on the front of the rig. Just happened to see this, I think because you were trying to turn the tires or something. I think it all started when we were trying to put the drive shaft in and try to turn the tires, and the tires wouldn't turn because they were wedging into things, and which is a common thing, I guess. And once the problem arose, we had heard of it. The offset is different, so when you run like a skinny wheel, you got to run a spacer or run a non-matching offset wheel. So obviously we already have wheels, so we're just gonna run a spacer on the rear, and we'll show you guys the finished product when that happens. But I ordered some shock bolts and they came, so that's what that was all about. We also got the correct and new diff bolts in, so we've got all the diff bolts in, which is sick. We've also got this upper shock tower, which I don't think you guys have seen since any of the welding has happened on that. Got that fully welded. It comes and wraps down and around here, so the shock will bolt through there. So now it's, I don't know, gusseted or stronger.
Yeah.
More metal, more better.
More better. And then welded down around each one of those tubes.
More weld, also more better.
So shock tube, shock tower, good to go.
My nunchucks here are gonna go up here somehow, some way, kind of triangulate, triangle straight, whatever. Just another tube in here, gonna be stronger.
Yeah. People, I've seen some comments. People were concerned where our folding plane's gonna be. We are the folding plane.
our necks. That's what it's gonna be.
I don't know what.
I'm gonna go with driver's side lower frame. That's gonna fold first, and then it's gonna tuck right up into my knees and gonna hurt.
A pretty blown out hole in the back.
So
What's gonna fold next? We'll find out.
yeah, well, I don't think we'll find out.
Hopefully nothing.
My chassis is still
When we try to
straight-ish
jump
somehow.
that 3.5 foot rock and it decides to go under and not over is when you'll see.
My rig gets rolled every time we ride it, and it's
Yeah, but
still
it doesn't
somewhat
get
straight.
smashed into a wall.
It's been that
Yeah.
too.
Have you
It's
seen
been
my
all
front
the
end?
above.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll be good. All jokes aside, like, yeah, you want a give point. I understand why the factory wants it, but we don't really want that because most people aren't driving these things into. Oh yeah, that is probably the weak
Here's
point.
the weak point.
China.
But anyways, we're gonna keep plugging away on some odds and ends, and update you guys periodically. So
Thing on? I think we're good. What's the word?
It's warm enough in here for these things to work. All right, so got a little bit of a jump here. Gotta catch you guys up to speed. Want to give a shout out to Seek Designs. They hooked us up with these gusset plates that they make for the Talon. Basically, gusset's this upper shock bar that we've been dealing with over to the A-pillar, to the dash bar, and then gusset's the A-pillar where it's bent there. And kind of a weird form, as you can see. It's got like its own little form to it. So it's not a very simple plate for someone like us to make. Like, sure, we could make it and weld it and stuff, but when people like this have all the right tools, it's really cool to take advantage of that. So if you guys happen to be wheeling a Talon and you're worried about, you know, rolling, obviously gussets are always a good thing. So
Worried about rolling?
your time will come.
You've never done that.
Nah, not this week.
We're not worried about it. We know it's going to happen. So while we're in here, do some preventative maintenance for us,
Yeah.
some gussets. But anyways, they make these two for both sides, and we went ahead and threw those on. And then they also make these, which are for the B pillar. So I'll show you quick. Like, basically, from the outside standpoint, it goes just below the cage bung because it's got like a piece like this that sticks above a tube going this way, which you can kind of see down here. It would basically gusset, I don't know the orientation, like this. Gusset like that, and they give you 4, so you could do, you know, on each side of the tube. We're not gonna put those in right now. We might later on down the road if we have to take the bed apart or anything like that, or possibly when we get the cage or something, maybe we'll do it. But for now, primarily focused on this nightmare we got going here. And yeah, so shout out to them. Hit them up on Facebook. They don't have them on their site. That is something that they're just starting to make. So if you guys are looking for them, they can get that cut and shipped out to you, and you guys can get them welded on yourself. But super happy with the fitment on those. But moving on, we've got these couple tubes in here. So we showed you that we finished up our shock tower brace, we're gonna call it, and we added in 2 tubes. There was no tubes here at all. And obviously we put tubes in there. So prior in the build, when we were talking about how this was just kind of a band-aid, it was basically until we could get these in place. So holding the shock tower where we wanted it, then we could build some tubes, and obviously it's not going anywhere now.
The Band-Aid is mostly for locating the plastic.
Yeah. And while we were fabbing,
It held
kept
it.
our shock tower where we wanted it. Because everything wants to kind of move and shift. So then we also replaced a bent tube that was in here. It was kind of a banana tube. Went ahead and threw a nice straight new one in there. And we're looking up. I mean, really, aside from that, we're close. We ran out of welding wire again. So unfortunately, we have to get some more welding wire, but finish up the weld. But until then, we're gonna throw some paint on the stuff that we can paint, and start throwing suspension and shocks, axles, all that crap back on. So I think we'll see you guys then.
Finally starting to look up. Only been probably a week now of time.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute. How many? We've done like 2.
days.
We've done like 2 or I think we've done 3 full days, right?
Done 2 Friday nights.
3 full days and 2 Friday nights, I believe.
Yeah.
So I
Probably
mean,
4 days. 4
really
like
not
full
too
days.
bad. I mean, granted, there is 3 of us, and we're all kind of working on something at the same time. Like,
But not really.
yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit more like productive, but we're staying busy. in my
Yeah, a
opinion.
lot of the times, like if he's welding or something, we'll be, you know, trying to make the next piece to weld or something. Obviously, we can't work when you're welding right above or next to what we're trying to make.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of downtime for that kind of stuff, but I mean, I think it's decent overall. But I think it's cool information for people that are following the rebuild. On, like, you know, obviously the video just shows kind of highlights and stuff, but I don't know. three to 5 days, somewhere in that range. You know, a couple of the days were just normal 8-hour, probably Saturdays or whatever it was. We weren't out here crazy hours, but then some Friday nights like we're doing right now. And this thing's about ready to be back on its feet and be stronger than when it rolled in here, that's for sure. And from there on, the build begins.
Then we get to have all our fun.
Yeah.
Actually put some parts on this unit.
Yeah, for real. So
Thought we were keeping it stock.
yeah, what are they? Oh, OEM Plus, right? From
Yeah.
the car world, I guess they call it. Anyways, we'll see you guys when we get some more welding wire and we start rebuilding this thing, getting it back on its wheels.
We're out.
All right, guys. So I've been working on the wheels and tires, mounting those up. We got 30-inch carnivores from Tiki. It's living on. Mounted on Can-am stock wheels. Same bolt pattern as the Honda. Throw a little quick coat of paint on them. Here it is on the back. Still got to do the shock bolt. And while I was back here doing 2-inch wheel spacers and mounting these, I found out why this tire, passenger rear, has a little bit of, you know, toe in, which is definitely not supposed to. Anyway, well, if you look at the 4th link, this bar, the 4th link straight. Passenger side, not really straight, you know. So we're gonna end up trying to pull this back with the quarter power and weld this area up to make it straight. For now, we've been trying to get it on its wheels here today, actually, in the next hour or so, hopefully. I'm gonna hand it to Justin now for the detailed upfront explanation that they've been working on while I was doing that.
What's up, guys? So a little bit of an update here. We've got these bars that we showed you all fully welded up. Got everything painted. So front end is ready to be final assembly, which is what we're doing now. Got all the gussets and everything painted. She's looking mint. So the fan setup in the front, I don't know that if you guys have been following closely, we mentioned it once or twice, but there was no fan on this thing. It was just missing. So the stock fan, I don't remember the exact price, but it was like $300 to $400, I think.
With everything we needed.
With everything that was needed to make it work. So obviously, there's better things we could buy with $300 to $400. So we went ahead and bought this Spal fan. It's kind of just a 12-inch like performance universal fan. If anybody's curious, that is the part number. I made that decision because I was looking on the forums for a fan, and people talked about the factory fans have some issues, I guess. I mean, everything's got issues if you go down that rabbit hole, but bottom line, it was only like $80. So, and it was just make a couple brackets. Obviously there isn't really a shroud now, but it does cover the entire radiator. So we will see. We'll just have to keep an eye on the engine temps and see if it works out. I went ahead and just cut the factory harness and spliced in this little pigtail that I ordered with the fan. So it'll still have a quick disconnect that just unplug the fan to remove the radiator. And then doing it that way, it should still be controlled by the stock computer and temp sensors and all that garbage. So shouldn't have to worry about that. No extra switches, nothing like that. Just a different fan. So, and then we were also missing, which I think is integrated into the fan shroud, the mount for the radiator. So it was just plastic before. So we went ahead and whipped up some brackets here, bolted it in some factory holes that were threaded there, and just tied it all together. And those are the same mounts that we went ahead and made some brackets to mount the fan, which you can kind of see there. So just bolted the fan with some brackets and used through to the same thing here. And that pretty much wraps up the whole fan radiator mount. So that was one last little fab project that we had to knock out. So went ahead, got that done. Billy was messing with the driver's side A-arms, got that looking good. Did have to make little adjustments on the A-arm, the lower A-arms with camber. But as we do the passenger side, we are going to show you. The passenger side is obviously going to need more adjustment because that's the side that we were messing with the A-arm tabs and everything more. So coming together. I'm gonna throw a little time lapse together here now of throwing the passenger side together, and we'll kind of show you guys, break it up in between and show you guys some of the adjustments we're doing and how we're figuring out which way to go, you know, so. Good job. You're a vlogger in no time.
Say hi. You So who's saying that? Yeah. Mia, say hi.
Lunch break, we'll be back.
Okay, time lapse is over. We just want to show you something quick. Looking for my leveling device.
That's not how you use one of those.
So, as you can see with the old bubble, we're shaking a little bit.
That ain't going nowhere, boy.
But right now we're cambered. Got some negative camber going on. So at the other side we had positive camber. So to fix that, I'm going to come up here, take these lower A-arm bolts out on each side, loosen them jam nuts there, and then to change that I'd want to shorten those, so I'd screw them in. And I've been doing, the other side was off by maybe like 1 degree, and I think I went like 4 complete revolutions with those like bushing holder things. So we'll see, I'll probably start with 1 or 2 on this side, and then we'll see where we're at from there.
Big things happening right now. Going back on his own feet. What was that? Turns out the frame broke.
Yep, that was a weld.
She's looking good.
Go jump on that side, Billy.
Where do you jump?
Rock the cage back and forth. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, broke it.
Oh, we're crushing the box.
Oh, dang it.
Dude, I think the alignment looks mint.
It's so low.
Race car?
Seems like it's slammed. So anyways, we've got it set down on the 30-inch carnivores that we talked about earlier. It's got my stock Can-am wheels, which I don't know if Josh said that or not, but they look horrible. So like they're like an open center, so you can see the knuckle or hub, whatever. And then back here you can see the spacer, which is something I don't know that was talked about since we put them on. Did you say you put spacers on it? So it was hitting the shock bolts, which ooh, we didn't tell you guys.
I told them.
Yeah, we did. Did we?
Yeah, I did it.
About the bent?
Yeah.
Oh. Tough break back here, but it honestly isn't even that bad. Like looking at it.
At ride height, it's not terrible.
Yeah, because it obviously gets worse as it droops.
When it drooped, it was really bad.
Yeah, so coming together, it's back on its feet. The 30-inch carnivores are not here to stay. I wanted to say that. They're not gonna be, it's like end all be all stage. It's just a wheel and tire setup that we kind of had laying around, so we threw it together because Trader is running the 32 System 3s and well,
we're fixing to, you know, hit up the club limiter here pretty soon.
yeah, club limiter is going to appear on the test ride, which should be in the next video. So if you guys made it this far on the video, thanks for watching. We're going to end it off here. This thing is a full-blown rolling skeleton, and we're pretty hyped on that.
It's time for plastics.
Yeah,
And then goodies.
it's time for plastics, goodies, and then
Limiter.
test ride, limiter in the driveway. hopefully it's got enough pow for the limiter in the driveway, but we'll see.
I'm gonna have to spray out some water, but we'll get her.
You know, I ain't got that 200 horsepower, but
Got me Bruiser shirt on.
I think some 30s it'll eat it. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I want to give a quick shout out to the channel or the build sponsors that support this build. Without you guys, you know, we'd be pinching pennies trying to make this happen, and we wouldn't be able to throw on some of the extra goodies that we're throwing on it. So stay tuned for those videos. Stay tuned for the next video when we take it for its first test ride. Still gotta try and put this mess of plastics back on, which obviously is gonna be a feat in itself, I'm thinking. But we will know for sure here very shortly for us. Another couple days for you guys. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.